Okay, welcome to our council, and thank you for becoming troop cookie managers. I thought the best thing to do would be bring in a very experienced cookie manager. Her girls sell anywhere from 500 to 1,000 boxes. She had an enormously successful season last year, and she has lots of helpful hints. So, Stacy, why don't we begin with you?
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I'm sure many of you are thinking now that you've agreed to be a TCM. Now what? What is next? Well, there's a few things to keep in mind. The first thing is you need to be registered as a Girl Scout, and you also need a background check with council. And then you will need to establish your troop's bank account in order so that you can have your cookie business. So make sure that that's established. Then you need to also attend your service unit training, cookie manager training. It's also your responsibility to ensure that all the girls are registered within your troop, and all the girls and parents have their permission slips filled out so that they can start their business and participate in the sale. And last but not least, you want to help the girls with their goals and ensure that they have lots of fun. Okay. Now let's talk about some of the main skills and responsibilities as a TCM. So there's a lot of resources out there within GCM. We have the bakery's website, abcsmartcookie.com. And also this is going to be your main manual, the Troop Cookie Manual, that's going to have all your key important dates and information you need for the sale. So this will be your Bible to be using throughout the sale. You also want to discuss the 5 skill sets with the girls. And work with your troop leader and work out what your troop goal is going to be and all your girls' individual goals. This is going to be very important with the sale. So once you've done that, then your troop, what you're responsible to do is put the troop's initial order in SNAP. And then with SNAP, all the information is going to be here on page 22. Let me see if we can find page 22 for you. Right here, it's kind of cool. When you look, you'll see all the different screenshots of how to get that initial order into SNAP. So everything you need is there. So what you want to do once you get that initial order in is to encourage your girls to continue selling, because this is an important time. Once their initial order's done, you got to wait for the cookies to come in. They need to keep selling because they can sell a lot more cookies at that time. The bigger part of that is that everybody's looking for those, and once the boost sales come out, they're going to miss some sales.
Right.
So boost sale locations, that's an important thing to go after. Now your service unit cookie booth coordinators are the ones who are going to have lotteries around, so you're going to want to get in on getting your booth sale set up there and also through SNAP. And then later on through the sale, you can also set up your booth through SNAP, get additional locations. After you get your initial order, you need to arrange to get your initial order with the Cookie Depot. So you do that through your service unit cookie manager. From that, then you want to distribute all your cookies to your parents and the guardians. You want to get those out right away and get the signatures from them. Then what you're going to do is you remember to handle the money properly and quickly with your transactions and always get signatures from them. And then enter all this information in SNAP weekly so you don't get behind, because it can get a little confusing, but if you keep it up to date and organized, you'll have no issues. Remember to handle your money properly, so you want to always give receipts when you're given any money. That's very important. And then at the same time, you want to provide your troop leader with receipts for any cash that your troop leader collects throughout the sale. And then that way you can have good records to then input into SNAP later on. And record all this information as you get it through SNAP. And update the system with the girls' names and payment information. You want to do that and your final sales totals at the end so you can get your rewards for the girls. It's very important for the girls to get those rewards.
So now you have the basics, the nuts and bolts of the program. I know it's a lot of information, so it's in your booklet. And what I'd like to do now is let's do question and answers. Let Stacy give you some of her answers and her valuable information with her experiences. So Stacy, why don't we start with, how did you get your girls to sell so much?
Well, that's a good question, Pat. So what we do as our troop is I like to meet with everybody with the troop leader at the end of our year, and even at the beginning of the year. What we want to do is find out, what do the girls want to do? What do they want to do for the next year? And this is important because knowing what they want, then we can determine and create a budget. So the budget's important for the girls. We put down how many girls we have in the troop, what do they want to do, and how much it's going to cost. And once you do that, we know how much money is it going to cost us for the year. then we do this in front of the parents, which is also very key and important, so they can see the girls have this budget, and then we decide from that how much money do we want to make for the year.
So, do you tell the girls exactly how many cookies to sell?
No, we don't tell them exactly what they have to sell. What we do is I want the girls to come up with individual goals. They know what the troop amount is, our goal is, but then it's all about the girls and what can they do and what can they have the support of their parents to help them with. Some girls may only want to sell 100 boxes and some may want to sell 1,000 boxes. That's okay. For me, it's about how much they want so that they can achieve their goal, and they can also learn how to exceed if they want to their goal. But it's all about helping them achieve it, breaking it into parts, and getting that, making that happen.
So tell me, Stacy, did you ever have a girl that didn't participate as much?
Yes, we did. I have some girls that, they didn't want to, their goals may have been a little lower at first. But what happened was, an interesting fact is they looked at what the other girls were doing and they saw how they could do it. They could succeed, and they went back to their mom and they said, I want to change my goal to something else. And so that's up to them. And then they got their parents to buy into it. And the parents actually were very supportive because they could see what the sale was doing for them and how the sale was helping them learn these skill sets that are life lessons and learn about money management.
Well, I kind of agree with you. We also had goal setting with the girls, and then we had a parent-girl meeting, and I found the parents really bought into it because the girls were so enthusiastic, almost infectious, with how excited they were about it. And we never had to tell them an amount either. They came up with what they wanted to do, and all through the number of years, that's what they did.
And that's what
Every
you
year.
want.
Yeah.
So, Stacy, how did you manage to handle all the money and cookies?
Good question. Well, so what we did was, first step is to collect this permission slip. So you need to get the permission slip, it's G1 here for the parents, to fill this out so that the girls could actually sell. So this is one very important step. The next thing you do is you take your girl order form. So I hand out the order form to the girls, and then we go through and we fill out all the important dates on these forms. So the girls and the parents both know when the orders are due and when the money's due, and when the cookies are coming back in. And I always make sure, as a troop cookie mom, that your dates of when you're collecting the money from the girls is way before the ACH and the draw comes out of their bank account, because you want that money up front.
Right. Okay, Stacy. So the girls go out door to door to sell the cookies with the initial order, and then they come back to the troop leader and hand them their forms. So what's next after that?
What's next? So yeah, that's next. I get to collect all these girl order forms, and then once I collect the order forms, we put that right into Snap.
Okay.
But do you have to collect the forms? Can't they give you a call or send you an email that tells them how many cookies?
So some TCMs do that, and that's okay as long as they have all the different kinds of cookies and how many. But I like to see them use the forms and actually hand these forms back in to us, because sometimes when you add everything up, the tallies, they could make a mistake in the tallying, and then you can catch some of those mistakes in the additions. I also like for them to go into Coco, because a lot of the girls are using Coco these days, which is a great tool. And I like them to print out a report of what their sales were in Coco as well.
That's a good idea.
So then from that, we take and we go into the worksheet. So you guys are going to be using this worksheet, and you're going to take their orders and you're going to put them in the girl's name, all the variations for the initial order, and then leave room for all the additional orders that they're going to come back and get, because they're coming back to get more cookies, right? So and then remember, it's very important you have initial order, that when they come and get their cookies, they sign for it as well.
Okay.
So it's just that extra step of documentation I think is very important to make you successful.
Stacy, how often do you record the information?
I record the information weekly, but I also like to do it as soon as I get the money. And what I like to do too is recording. We use these receipt cards. Okay, so when somebody comes and they give me money, or they come and take additional cookies out, I always like to put this information here to show what their balance is and how much they owe and what they paid, and have a record, because it gets a little confusing if you don't do that. You need to keep a record to cover yourself and the parent.
Okay.
I agree. I have to tell you that double documentation, giving them the receipt as well as having them sign the worksheet, really does make a difference, because parents will get confused. It happens every sale. There's so many cookies going in and out, they forget what they take. So it's wonderful you have records, and then you can show that, your copy, to them, and it really does make a difference.
So how did you manage your inventory through the cookie season?
And well, we start with that initial order. And your initial order, I normally take and add some extra boxes, actually a couple extra cases for that first booth sale. And we like to get set up right away at that first weekend booth sale. So the first weekend the cookies are coming out, you want to get your booths out there right away because that's one of the best times to be out there selling the cookies. Everybody's looking for them right then and there, and you want to get in right away. And what next thing you have to do is in Snap, there's an extra line in Snap where you can actually put your initial order. So you do that right
Your
away.
initial booth order, you mean?
Your initial booth.
Yeah.
order, yeah.
Okay.
How do you know? How do you know what type of cookies to order?
It's a good question. So what we do is in the training that we have with the service unit cookie managers, we talk about the pie chart that we have over here. And this pie chart tells us how many cookies are selling in our service unit area. You know, so we at least know in our area what are the big sellers. The big sellers, of course, are the Thin Mints, Caramel Delights, and the Peanut Butter Patties. So what I do is I generally would do an estimate and just do the math and estimate out what I think I'm going to need for each booth sale. And then at the same time, you have a lot of experienced TCMs in your area, and your service unit troop cookie mom there is going to be able to help you out with how much you should order for your booths.
I heard that some TCMs give half their order to their parents and then reserve the rest for booth sales. Do you do that?
Some TCMs may do that, but our troop, we can't do that because when the girls are taking orders, they also say when the cookies are coming back in. So it's very important for great customer service that you're teaching your girls to get those cookies back to the customers right away because they're looking for those cookies and they want them right away. So I always order extra for the booths because I also know that we're having booth sales right away, that we can get rid of them, and that the money's going to come right back in our account. At the same time, we just want the girls to keep taking orders. So we've been doing this for a couple years now, and our troops sells a lot of cookies that I know it's not going to be an issue.
But what if you don't sell enough at the booths?
What if you don't sell enough at the booths? There's other options. I mean, there's other troops out there that can help you, that are looking to go to the cupboards to get more cookies. Your troop, service unit troop cookie mom is there to help you, support you throughout the sale. So they're going to be there, and they can help set up like different swaps with other troops. You can do a troop to troop transfer at any time. Believe me, they're out there, and everybody's here to be a Girl Scout and help each other out.
Okay.
And just remember, there are cupboards all over our area, and your service unit cookie manager will give you the list. We usually emails the list out to you with their times, location, who's running it. So you can pick up, order extra cookies through Snap, and reserve a time, and then come pick up your cookies.
Oh, okay.
Well, I can't stress enough that when you're going to that cupboard, that you do need to bring your passport. So your passport's very important. This is the only way you're going to get your cookies out of the cupboard, that you're the authorized person. And so I leave this in the car all the time.
So what if you can't make it to the cupboard and you send a parent or someone else to pick up the cookies? How does that work?
That's a good question because you do need your, then you would need to have this other form here filled out. It's the T12. So you need a T12 that authorizes somebody else to come to the cupboard for you. So this is important, but they also then will need to bring the passport because without the passport, no cookies.
So you can't get the cookies.
No cookies.
Okay.
So always keep the passport and then they have their form and you're good to go.
How often did you collect the money?
Well, I like to collect the money weekly with the troop, but first what we would do is we hand out the cookies to the girls, right? And then I let the parents know right then and there to go out and deliver these cookies quickly as possible to your customers and collect the money. And then once they have their money, to come on back to me. So they get it back as quick as possible. They already know what the dates of our ACH withdrawal are. I make sure my parents know that. But their date is a couple of days before.
Right.
So that we are set within putting that money into the troop account and covered. So that's very important for us.
Do you take checks for cookies?
I try and stay away from checks. So I don't take checks, and I try to keep my parents away from taking checks because cash is a lot safer to deal with. And then we don't have that problem with our troop account going in having additional charges on your troop account. So we try and stay away.
Okay.
So how often do you collect the money, Stacy?
Well, I like to collect the money after the initial orders are filled and the girls have their cookies. I like to tell the parents that they need to come back and give the money, deliver their cookies right away, and then bring the money back to me as soon as possible. I tell them when the withdrawal is going to be so that they hand that money to me a few days before the withdrawal. So they don't have the exact date. I tell them a couple days before. Then I also like to have them come on a weekly basis to give me money, but we like to set it up with the troop meetings because that makes it a lot easier for the parents and for the troop leader to collect money there. And before the girls come back to me and they want more cookies, which they're going to do, we'd like to make sure that they have paid for the initial order before they take out additional cookies.
Stacy,
Yes.
what do you do if you do not receive the money from a parent on time?
It's a good question, because that will happen. So what I do is I call the parent and I tell them I need half of the money up front, and then I make arrangements with them because we explain to them that we need that money to make so that we can make the ACH withdrawal with council. And then normally they're okay to go ahead and meet with me and give them the money.
What if you get no response?
That could happen, and that's happened to a few of us, I'm sure. So then what you do is we can notify the troop leader, and then we let the troop leader know to help us out, and then we also notify the service unit cookie manager. And so we keep trying to contact that parent, okay? And then there's always a form within the GSC website as well to help you out, normally to deal with delinquent parents, and hopefully it doesn't get that far. But normally the Troop Cookie, our manual here has all that information for you as well. So we're always going to refer back to our manual for this information. And, you know, normally it's often enough to just take those couple steps, and then the money's coming in to you.
Okay. So I agree, in dealing with a delinquent parent, you really need to keep people in the loop. You need to let your troop leader absolutely know what's going on. You need to let the service unit cookie manager know what's going on. And also you want to tell the director of product sales at council what is going on. And it is in your booklet, but also on the website, you'll see there's a delinquent form, and that can help you out too. But definitely keep people
Yes.
in the loop, okay?
How often would you enter the sale data into Snap?
Good question. So in Snap, I enter it weekly, and sometimes it's even daily, depending on when you're doing your boost sales or when the money's coming in. But weekly is a good time. You want to try and pick a day that works for you. But the more you enter the data into Snap, the better organized you're going to be and up to date with all the information. If you wait too long, you're going to get confused and get behind, and then at the end of the sale, you're going to be asking for help. Yes.
So, so you can see Stacy's really shared quite a lot with us today. You can go home and look at your booklet and go online. She has a wealth of experience, and I think when you go back to your service units, you're going to find that the service unit cookie manager has a lot of experience, and also too, you have a lot of experienced troop cookie managers that love to help you, and they're excited about the sale, and they're glad to share all their experience as well. So good luck, and I hope you're successful.